Argentine beef, eggs from Turkey, U.S. Department of Agriculture policy, and cheap food. Let's connect some dots here from my hayloft at De La Rosa Farms. There's a lot of hubbub right now because in the last week, the government announced that we're going to bring in more Argentine beef to offset beef prices that Secretary of Agriculture Burke Rollins said are too high. And we also heard President Trump get into a little spat with the ranchers and various trade groups saying that you ranchers, the beef is too high. We got to bring these prices down. And a lot of folks are saying, wait a minute, we were just starting to make money on our beef out here for the last few years. We're finally making money and we hadn't for so long. And now you're going to flood the market with cheap food from foreign countries. It's exactly what's going to happen. It happened with eggs. You remember this spring when eggs were $5.99 on average? The Secretary of Agriculture said eggs are too pricey for families in the United States of America. So we went and secured eggs from foreign countries as far away as Turkey, where we shipped over eggs to bring down the price of eggs because the policy, whether it's stated or not, from the United States Department of Agriculture, is cheap, or shall I say affordable, abundant, and safe food for the masses. It has been since the 1860s. You may not know that President Abraham Lincoln was in office when the USDA came into being. In his final address before Congress, before he was assassinated, he called the USDA the People's Department. He understood, and every politician, it seems, since then has understood, affordable, abundant, and safe food is good for a growing country. I was told this my freshman year, 1988, at Purdue University in an agricultural economics class, and the professor talked about cheap food policy. And I said, cheap at what cost? Remember, subsidies to farmers, crop insurance programs, all these sort of taxpayer-funded programs cost something. And he said, Damian, the people who pay the taxes are not the people who are most likely to have food insecurity or riot when they're hungry. You see, cheap food for the masses also means that the bottom half of the socioeconomic group has affordable food and plenty of it. And that has been a policy now since 1865 when the USDA came into being, stated or unstated. You might wonder, what about the farmer? Well, yeah, you're important because you're the supply chain to make sure that we have the abundant groceries and calories for the masses. That's really all you are. If you think the USDA is not about cheap food and it's all about the farmers, look at the USDA budget. You know what? Where money goes is where priority is, right? Almost 80% of the USDA's budget is for nutrition programs, EBT cards, WIC, family, free lunches, free breakfast at schools, SNAP. Right now, 42 million Americans, in fact, you're hearing about this during the government shutdown, might not get their SNAP benefits in November. 13% of our country doesn't get fed. There's going to be some problems, right? Again, cheap food for the masses keeps the population calm. That's the policy of the United States Department of Agriculture. It always has been, and it probably always will be. I'm Damian Mason, coming at you from De La Rosa Farms. I speak on stages all over North America and right here online about the world's most important industry, the business of agriculture. Thank you for tuning in.